essentially, the president wanted to know, he said, oh, you know Bob Mueller. How well do you know Bob Mueller? And I told him how well I knew Bob Mueller and how, the Barrs and Muellers were good friends and would be good friends when this is all over and so forth. And he was interested in that, wanted to know, what I thought about, Mueller's integrity and so forth and so on. And I said, Bob is a straight shooter and should be dealt with as such. And he said something to the effect like, so are you envisioning some role here? And I said, actually, Mr. President, right now I couldn't do it. My personal and my professional obligations are such that I'm unable to do it. So he asked me for my phone number. I gave it to him, and I never heard from him again until.
Well, I tried that once.
Well, I didn't hear from him until later, but about something different, which was.
Barr, I previously sent you a letter dated March 25th, 2019. That enclosed the introduction and executive summary for each volume of the special counsel's report, marked with redactions to remove any information that potentially could be protected by Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure 6E. That's on grand jury materials. That concerned declination decisions or that related to a charge case. We had also marked an additional 2 sentences for review and have now confirmed that these sentences can be released publicly. Accordingly, the enclosed documents are in a form that can be released to the public, consistent with legal requirements and department policies. I am requesting that you provide these materials to Congress and authorize their public release at this time. As we stated in our meeting of March 5th and reiterated to the department early in the afternoon of March 24th, the introductions and executive summaries of our 2-volume report accurately summarize this office's work and conclusions. The summary letter the department sent to Congress and released to the public late in the afternoon of March 24th did not fully capture the context, nature, and substance of this office's work and conclusions. We communicated that concern to the department on the morning of March 25th. There is now public confusion about critical aspects of the results of our investigation. This threatens to undermine a central purpose for which the department appointed the special counsel to assure full public confidence in the outcome of the investigation. See the department press release. While we understand that the department is reviewing the full report to determine what is appropriate for public release, a process that our office is working with you to complete, that process need not delay the release of the enclosed materials, again, the redacted materials. Release at this time would alleviate misunderstandings that have arisen and would answer congressional and public questions about the nature and outcome of our investigation. It would also accord with the standard for public release of notifications to Congress cited in your letter. And then he cites the provision of the federal code there. So clearly...
And he signs it, right?
And he signs it, Robert S. Mueller III.
Yeah.
So I think clearly what you see here is 2 main thrusts. He wanted those public summaries out. Now, it's interesting he didn't attach them to his original submission when he provided the full...
And how long did the conversation last?
I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes. There were multiple witnesses in the room. It was on the speakerphone.
Who was in the room?
Among others, the Deputy Attorney General was in the room.
Anyone else?
Several other people who had been working on the project.
Members of your staff?
Yes, and the deputy staff.
And as best you can recall, in the language that was used, who said what to whom?
I said, Bob, what's with the letter? Why don't you just pick up the phone and call me if there's an issue? And he said that they were concerned about the way the media was playing this and felt that it was important to get out the summaries, which they felt would put their work in proper context and avoid some of the confusion that was emerging. And I asked him if he felt that my letter was misleading or inaccurate, and he said no, that the press, he felt that the press coverage was, and it was, and that a more complete picture of his thoughts and the context and so forth would deal with that. And I suggested that I would rather just get the whole report out than just putting out stuff seriatim and piecemeal. And but I said I would think about it some more. And the next day I put out a letter that made it clear that no one should read the March 24th letter as a summary of the overall report, and that a full account of Bob's Mueller's thinking was going to be in the report, and everyone would have access to it.
But there's nothing in Robert Mueller's letter to you about the press. His complaint to you is about your characterization of the report, correct?
Well, the letter speaks for itself.
It does. And in fact, in response to your question, why not just pick up the phone? This letter was an extraordinary act. A career prosecutor rebuking the Attorney General of the United States, memorializing in writing, right? I know of no other instance of that happening. Do you?
Well, I don't consider Bob at this stage a career prosecutor. He's had a career as a prosecutor.
Well, he's a very eminent prosecutor.
He was the head of the FBI for 12 years.
He's a career
He's had a
law enforcement
career, yeah.
professional.
Right.
Yep.
I know of no other instance of...
But he was also a political appointee, and he was a political appointee with me at the Department of Justice. The letter's a bit snitty, and I think it was probably written by one of his staff people.
Did you make a memorandum of your conversation?
Huh?
Did you make a memorandum?
No, I didn't
or
make
did
a
anyone
memorandum.
else?
What?
Did anyone, either you or anyone on your staff, memorialize your conversation with Robert Mueller?
Yes.
Who did that?
There were notes taken of the call.
May we have those notes?
No.
Why not?
Why should